Hey everybody, it's Riff Hornhelm, and I'm back once again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault. And today we have another monster review. Today we're going to go into one of my favorites, which I think is an entirely overrated monster within Dungeons & Dragons, but it's a name that's very evocative, and that is the Basilisk. Now before I get too far into this, I want to take a moment and say thank you from the very bottom of my beard to all of our new subscribers and viewers who have joined us here over the last week or so. It is very gratifying. I can't thank you all enough. I'm very pleased to see that you're enjoying what we're doing, and we're going to strive to keep you all entertained and give you some extra knowledge on Dungeons & Dragons, particularly going back to the very earliest days of D&D. So, let's talk about the Basilisk. The Basilisk is a fearsome sounding creature who, I mean, if you turn your opponent to stone, I mean, that's right up there with Medusa and all the rest of them. That's pretty cool. Having said that, they are a creature that is I believe it's a 7 hit dice creature, and they are also one that is slow moving. The damage they do when they bite is only 1 to 10 points. Other than their gaze, they don't do much. It's like a monitor lizard with 8 legs and 7 feet long. And yes, they got the glowy green eyes and all that kind of good stuff, but really, one thing to remember is a basilisk is also vulnerable to its own gaze. If it sees its own eyes, it turns to stone. Now, what that really means is it's susceptible to the gaze of basilisks, which makes the next part of the description of the animal or the creature within the monster manual makes no sense to me. It's 1 to 4. If they can look at each other and turn each other to stone, why would there be more than 1? I would imagine that mating is a very risky proposition when you're a basilisk, and your objective has less to do with the continuation of the race and your ability to escape unpetrified. Or at least I would think so. But hey, that's just me. So the basilisk is a nasty little critter, but it doesn't really have all that many hit points. I think it's a maximum of 42. It might be +1, so 43, something like that. But it also means that it can be under 10. And it's slow moving. Once you are out of its gaze, you can shoot arrows at it, whatever you want to do. It's not going to run away. Well, not fast. And frankly, they're easy to kill. But the name, the Basilisk, from literature and movies and all forms of entertainment for humans, the Basilisk conveys more horror and more fear to people, I think, than what the one in Dungeons & Dragons does. I think they could have made it actually a little bit better, given it a poisonous bite or something of that nature. And certainly it's a creature I've tinkered with in the past. But as presented in the monster manual, it's actually a fairly low-level creature that has fairly high-level effects. But if you know what you're dealing with, those effects are pretty easy to avoid. At least that's my opinion. Now, there's one very important thing that we have not mentioned in any detail yet, and that has to do with the basilisk's gaze. In addition to being able to turn people into stone in the prime material plane, it also has the ability to affect creatures in both the astral and ethereal planes. I haven't stressed this very much yet, and to be honest, the way I expect the basilisk to be used in lower level dungeons is without this part of it, because frankly most characters at this point have yet to experience plane travel. But prime material plane turns you to stone. Ethereal plane turns you to ethereal stone. So you're not visible in the prime material plane. In the astral plane, it's save versus death or immediate death. Now, those are some interesting, quirky things that you can use with higher level characters as a trap in a dungeon or as a means of protecting something in other planes. But like I said, for low level dungeons, I don't really expect this to be used. Your characters just haven't learned very much about plane travel, but if they do, it's something you can use with the Basilisk. It can be very effective. Many moons ago in a dungeon, I had a thief, a rogue, by today's standards, a thief who went through the dungeon and had the ability to travel ethereally. He had convinced the party that all he could do was travel invisibly. While ethereal, party ran into a basilisk, so did he. He unfortunately saw its gaze and was turned into ethereal stone. To the rest of the party, he had disappeared and never came back. They didn't know where to look for him. Now, being a nice DM, yeah, I know those are words that go together like military and intelligence, but still, he was allowed to come back through other circumstances. But for that particular dungeon and party, he was gone. So those are the extra things that you could do with a basilisk, but once again, it still doesn't make them all that difficult of a creature. Whether you're using a mirror or using some kind of a shiny surface to try and reflect the gaze, or something as simple as enveloping its head in a cloak. Sneaking up on it from behind, something a thief does very, very well, and throwing a cloak over its head can give you the time you need to kill it. If you have a competent party and a couple NPCs along, it really shouldn't be all that difficult. Like I said, 43 is going to be the max, so generally it's going to be lower. So in talking to our extended Hornhelm family and friends and affiliates and so forth, and asking them about the Basilisk, the word's out on this one. In terms of ranking it 1 to 10, in talking to DMs and so forth, they said, yeah, it's a solid 4 at the best. And in talking to characters about it, they didn't rank it any higher either. People who had played against them often enough said that, yeah, no, it's only a 4. You just have to not look at its gaze. It's not that hard. And it's not like the Medusa that can turn its head much easier. This thing is slow. So you can outflank it and shoot it full of holes or cast spells at it. And frankly, it has nothing that gives it any extra ability to dodge magic or make it special from a defensive standpoint. The armor class isn't that low. So they're really not that difficult, and when you talk to everybody about it, everybody says, yeah, when you look at it based on hit dice, you would think it's more capable than what it is, but really it's not. So that's what we think of the Basilisk. Now, we hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you did, please give us a like. Continue to send us in the comments. The comments have been fantastic to read through. I really enjoyed that. And if you really like us, subscribe. No matter what you do, please try and come back and join us again in the future. And remember, dwarves rock!